things will be screwed up if we don't do it right. So being able to figure out like, where did that come from? Or who made me believe this can really, really shift us into a new place. A lot of women will say like, I knew what I wanted, but I had no idea how to say it. The hardest question to answer, which is, what do I want? And that is extraordinarily difficult for most people. We often talk a lot about what we don't want because that's easy.
For many of us, we go down this path of, who am I? What is my life purpose? What do I want? And I do believe that you have to know yourself.
You create something better when you speak up for what your needs are, because if you don't, you're actually not living a truth.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I'm your host, Leah Fortier. I am so excited to continue with our part 2 with Jacqueline Hawk. Today, we're going to take another deep dive into her signature power of the ask. I am so excited. I want you guys to lean in. This is going to be the meat and potatoes of the whole entire interview. So, Jacqueline, welcome back to the well. How are you?
So good. Thank you for having me back. And I am really excited to dive into the meat and the potatoes because that's exactly like what this is. This is the goods.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. I know we had such a powerful first part of our show. And I'm so excited to bring you back in here just to kind of take a deeper dive into the power of the ask. So I just kind of want to give you guys just a brief overview of what it is that Jacqueline does. She set the framework for the power of the ask, and she has helped over thousands of women, including leaders in Salesforce and Google Ventures, finally speak up, set boundaries, and step into the roles that light up the room. So, Jacqueline, let me give you the floor. Let me introduce you and welcome you back. So we want to pick up where we left off on setting the framework of the power of the ask. So tell us a little bit about that. What is the biggest mindset shift that a woman needs to make in order to start this process?
I think the mindset shift to we can ask is a really big one. There are so many situations I see where women think they can't ask or they shouldn't ask, or they will jeopardize something they've created, or there will be repercussions if they ask. So instead of thinking like, well, I couldn't do that, we need to shift to why can't I? Right. And you had actually even coined that right before we talked about this. And that's a huge shift. And there's a part 2 to that of like, I can do this without fear or judgment. Frankly, we shouldn't worry about everybody else's judgment. That's their own thing, or even jeopardizing something, because that's also what holds us back. So like, I can do this. I deserve this.
Yeah. And that's totally okay. It's giving ourselves permission to say, you know what? I deserve a little bit more. I know the hard work that I've put into this. I know that I have the ability to make more, to get more, to receive more. And I have to figure out how to get that ask out. So I want you to talk to us about upgrading our beliefs. What are some of the common limiting beliefs? I know we talked about this in part 1, but I want to kind of dial down into and talk about some of the limiting beliefs that you see in your clients, and how have you helped them make that shift?
Well, we're jumping into step 3 of the power of the ask, which I love because we can.
Okay, did I go?
I think we already talked about a big one. I can't do that. Right. There can be many, many reasons. Women will come up with, or I'll just say people, but definitely women, entrepreneurs, women that stay at home, all the things. There's an I can't ask, but there's a why. Sometimes it's, well, it's not the right time. Well, that person's busy. I don't want to look pushy or aggressive. I should be grateful. That person is already doing so much. They should just know. I mean, we could have the whole podcast on the reasons women think they can't ask. There was even just a great example last night with my husband, where one of the things I see a lot, you mentioned things like asking for more money or support or time. It's also a lot about boundaries. We end up picking up a lot of work and load that we shouldn't at work and home because we're not pushing back. Last night, what I referred to was my husband and I were packing up to do like a picnic dinner their kids. They're 2 and 4. And I had everything out, the lunch boxes, the things. He comes up and he's like, how can I help? Bravo for asking. He is amazing. And I said,
Yeah.
can I just pick a dessert? He goes, cool. What are our options? And this is the pivotal moment for women in a lot of our beliefs. He checked it
Yeah.
back on my plate. And I could have been
Yeah.
like, well, if I'm rude, if I tell him to go figure it out on himself, like you're fully capable.
Right.
But instead, even using my own framework, I was able to say, like, jokingly, no, 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 no. You offered to help. Whatever you pick will be absolutely fine. I believe in you.
Right.
Like, go do it. Like, and I think I said, I was like, I've got these 5 things.
Right.
Don't give me more to do. You asked to help, like, go for it. But it's kind of one of those examples where a lot of women might say, well, I can't push back. They'll just go straight into a tailspin of how rude that he puts it back on me and I end up doing it again.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
just need a
Oh my
mindset.
gosh.
He offered,
Oh my
let me tell
goodness.
you.
That is so, what a great example. You're absolutely right. I feel we do that too so far too often, and sometimes even overwhelm ourselves. So I might have skipped a step of step 2. So can I get you to back up to step 2? Maybe that'll help us better understand and move into step 3, because I have so many
Yeah.
questions right now.
Do you want me to start even with step 1?
Yes.
Do you want me to start with step 1?
Start with step 1. Absolutely.
All right, let's do that. So even just laying a bit of the groundwork for this is when I was in the corporate world and even my personal life, I felt this phrase came up recently, a lack of control. And control can be kind of a, I don't know, a delicate word because control would feel like a
Yeah.
bad thing. But I think for a lot of us women, and you've got a lot of listeners that are entrepreneurs, right? Moms, we feel like life can get out of control with all the things we're trying to do, accomplish. We've got others' expectations on us, like their to dos. What about our agendas? So there was a point where I was like, everything feels like out of control. Looks perfect, successful, but my job wasn't really what I wanted. My schedule wasn't what I wanted. My health wasn't there. And it was like, wait, 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 wait. How do I get back on track with what I actually want, big picture, but even in the moment, so I don't get derailed? Right.
Yeah.
Or I find that I'm off on this path, but it's not what I really wanted. Even when somebody says, hey, let's go do, go to this restaurant, it could be, micro. And
Right.
part of that was realizing, well, I wasn't actually speaking up for it. I was festering. I was stewing when things didn't go my way. I didn't get a promotion. I didn't get a raise. I didn't get asked out on a date, or my husband didn't do something when we were married. And it was like, well, what's happening? Well, I am not speaking up about it. Well, because I had all these beliefs. And we touched upon this in part 1, but I had a boss when I was in London who'd asked me, I was transitioning internally, and he's like, okay, great, you're going to thrive in this role. Like, why do you want it? And I did not know how to answer the question. I was like, what
Mm.
do you mean? How do I, like, what do I want? I gave him some corporate mumbo jumbo. And he's like, no, no, no. What do you want? What are you going to need to succeed and be
Right.
happy? And it set me on this whole like mind explosion of, wait, what do I want for this job, for this situation? And I started integrating that question into everything that I did. And it was the hardest question to answer, which is where step 1 came from. What do I want? Because so often what happens is we're in these situations where others have expectations for us. It could be a job, it could be a vision, and there's kind of this box and we go,
Yeah.
doesn't feel right. We're out of alignment because it's not in tune with what we really want. It doesn't
Right.
feel grossly out of alignment. It could be just some fine tuning, but to be able to pause and say, like, what do I want? And how do I clarify that? And that is extraordinarily difficult for most people. We often talk a lot about what we don't want, because that's easy. What's the problem? Yap about
Yeah.
that all day.
Yeah.
Or we have a very loose idea, like, I want more support, I want a raise, I want a better job, like I want my kids to like listen to me, but we're not actually specific on what that means. So a couple of things happen. If we talk about what we don't want, we're just going to get more of it. Whether you talk about the law of attraction or the reticular activating system, what
Mm-hmm.
happens? And if
Mm-hmm.
you only have a loose idea, hey husband, I want more support. Hey team member, I need you to be more efficient. We each have different definitions of these words. They're going to give you what they think it is, not necessarily what we want. So
Yeah.
we can end up not where we want to be because we talk about the problem or we're not actually specific enough. And a lot of us really have trouble even admitting what we want, or it seems like such a big question to ask. Our brain just goes,
Yeah.
so we need to get more. And step 1 of the power of the ask is questions that I channeled using, this experience with that boss, Simon,
Yeah.
or a lot of even training in neurolinguistic programming and having a business background of setting goals, to be able to say in 4 to 8 questions, how do you get crystal clear on what you want so you can go do it every day and articulate it to others Like, what do I actually need from you? What does a boundary look like? Hey, husband, go pick it. It's going to be great, whatever it is. Or, hey, the had a lot of sweets today. Let's go pick something that's, more in this realm. We can actually be able to get specific of what we want to articulate it. And that's like the first thing that's missing for any of us when it comes to empowerment, control, more freedom, is having that definition and getting to the stage of articulating it, which is actually step 2. But I'll pause there right now because that was a mouthful.
No, that was so good. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Jacqueline. I'm sitting here thinking, like, how long do we have to rehearse this? Uh, do we have to address it right on the spot? Because, maybe I don't know what I want. And, I don't want to ramble. How long do I have to address this?
Depends on the situation, right? And that's actually step 2 of Power the Ask, is how do you then articulate it? Because of what you'd said of like, well, do I know what I want? Do I have to answer it on the spot? And even if I do, how do I articulate it without rambling and it's clear? And one of the
Yeah.
most beautiful things that we don't use enough is saying, like, let me think about this. Can I get back to you? I think it's a very empowering thing to say, like, I need more
Mhm.
time, right?
Yeah.
Or even, hey, here's what I think, but I reserve the right to come back just in case.
Yeah. Yeah.
But step the power of the ask. And the whole point of this framework, step 1 is around clarifying what you want. Step 2 is around organizing your thoughts, so you're clear and convincing. Step
Yeah.
3 is about the mindset to be able to be, really, we all want confidence, right? But we want to not be
Yeah.
passive. We want to not be aggressive. We want to
Right.
ditch the fear and the guilt. And then step 4 is around how you actually speak, what a lot of people call executive presence. And the
Yeah.
point is each of these steps are questions that we learn to ask ourselves, and we get to do it really quickly, whether it's a big conversation or a small one. So when you talk about being like, what if I don't know what I want? What if I like don't want to ramble? Well, these questions about, and I don't want to give away too much. That's like, what my course and my coaching and all these
Got
things
it.
are for.
Yeah.
But there are specific questions you can ask yourself about, like, sometimes even what do I want is the
Yeah.
biggest question we need to start asking.
Yeah.
That's a game changer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, what does it actually look like when I have it? Right.
That's it.
That's a big one.
That's it.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm like, that's the little nugget to drop. I mean, I can dive into step 2 as well and answer your
I
question.
would
Or
love for you to
where do
dive
you want
into
to go?
step 2 without
So
getting
what I
ahead of time.
realized, yeah, I'm clocking all these and I've got my little notes too, which can come back. So what needs to happen then is this cool progression. These 4 steps, I think, are the biggest obstacles women have to speaking up for themselves, which really then translates to, less frustration, less disappointment, less resentment, more freedom and control, and all the things that we actually want, happiness, fulfillment. The
Right.
second piece is once we know what we want, our mind goes, oh my God, how do I actually articulate this? And it spins. Then even when you look at my testimonials, a lot of women will say, like, I knew what I wanted, but I had no idea how to say it. So I
Right.
blurted out, I fumbled, I exploded, or I hit. So this second step takes a lot of my corporate work and even the neurolinguistic programming, and it places it in this order. And for any of the women listening, I'm totally dating myself. If you remember Mad Libs, there were these paragraphs where it like led you and then you filled in the blank, led you again, you filled in the blank, and they were fun. That's actually what I've created. I've created some scripts for us to take the pieces of what we want and be able
Yeah.
to say, here's the situation, here's the impact, here's what I want, and here's why it benefits you.
Yeah.
So
I
it
like
actually, yeah. So it's really crystal clear when you even speak it. You can move it around, play some Tetris, but
Yeah.
it enables us to take just I call it the tornado in my head and even my heart, and use logic and order to make it very clear and convincing. And the conviction is a really interesting piece because a lot of people, women will just blurt out what they want to say, but that
Mhm.
doesn't necessarily mean it's convincing, right?
Yeah.
So, or you don't know what the ask is. Like I see my little kids do this with my husband. They make a statement, but I'm like, is
Oh,
that a
what?
question? Do you want
Right.
something with me?
Right.
So
Right.
when we can order it appropriately, even like last night with my husband, and I could come up with a gazillion examples, was like, I've got these 5 things I'm doing right now, right?
Yeah.
You asked me for help, but if I answer this question, I'm still doing it for you. So please just go do it. I trust you. Great, right? You asked for help, we're doing it, go, right?
Oh my goodness.
And it works because the other person then understands, like, oh, right, here's the situation I'm in. I did ask you how I could help. Oh, but I am throwing it kind of back on you. I can do this. And then
Yeah.
there's the ask. So the way it sets everything up makes the other person understand, like, why you're in the situation, and it doesn't seem selfish, and how to get on board with it.
Oh,
Yes.
that's so good. That's so good. Oh, can I just take a detour and ask you, talk to some of us who are avoiders? We just, I'd rather just avoid conflict. I'd rather just avoid any, I just want to, I'll do it myself. I'd rather do it myself. I'd rather just deal with it. Talk to some of us about how to like combat those.
Love this. This is why step 3 is the mindset. So, step 1, you get clear on what you want. Step 2, you plan the conversation. And then the closer you get closer to the conversation, the faster and heavier these beliefs, like, I don't want to have the conversation. I want to avoid it. I'll do it myself. They come
Yeah.
that start to derail it. So, I always love these engagements because it goes right through the ordering to help us with it.
Yeah.
So, my question to you is, and the first question in that step 3 of like, how do we understand what your belief is around the conversation that has you avoid it, do things yourself, or, be passive or aggressive, would be
Yeah.
like, what I believe about the situation is like,
Mm,
why are you avoiding it? What do you think is going to happen?
that's good.
Like, if there's a
Oh, you're
situation,
asking.
yeah, if there's something that comes to mind for you,
Yeah.
I mean, we can workshop this now. Like, what do you believe about the situation? Why would you
Like,
avoid it?
I think for me, I would avoid, especially, I mean, come on, you're dealing with let's say preteens, or maybe you're dealing with something at work, or, maybe you don't want the conflict, or maybe you just, you don't feel like explaining yourself over and over again, so, hey, I'll just do it myself. Forget it, talk to some of those who take that approach.
So yeah, so conflict and over explaining, those examples, two kind of different ones.
Yeah.
The conflict one is still like, this is where we get into some of more of like the somatic stuff, and I do too. What we're really avoiding is the conflict inside of us,
Mm.
but we're creating it anyway.
Yeah,
So it's that
that's good.
double-edged sword, right?
Yeah, it
Just
is.
coaching a chief financial officer at a venture capital firm through this yesterday. She's an Enneagram 9. Enneagram's a whole other conversation. But the avoidance of conflict, one, it creates conflict in yourself because you're doing it yourself anyway.
Mhm.
So at the most basic level, sometimes I'm like, which conflict would you prefer? You have a conflict, maybe it gets done, or you and the stewing of having to do it yourself, avoiding it. Do you kick yourself over it? Like run me through these two paths. What happens when you then avoid it? You say, I don't
Oh,
want to deal
that's
with the
good.
conflict. What happens
Yeah,
inside of you?
you're mad. Now you're frustrated. Now you're overwhelmed, right? Because you're
Resentment.
still, yeah, there you go.
Yeah. We don't talk
There you
enough
go.
about resentment. So what I'm really curious about too is, so that first question is like, what do you tell yourself about the situation? Well, there's going to be conflict, right?
Mm,
Or I'm going to have to over explain myself. A lot of women can't even figure out that piece, and no disrespect to them, but being able to identify what they're avoiding is really powerful in the first
it
place.
is.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Then there are a number, because we're live coaching, we'll just do this here. There are a number of things I could say is like, can you believe without a shadow of a doubt that it will cause conflict, or you'll have to over explain yourself?
Mm, that's good. I don't think that you can believe that. I mean, of course, in that, you're right. Yep. There you go. That's it.
So these are kind of working our way through these
Yeah.
beliefs,
Yeah.
right? And there's another one of like, are you approaching this conversation worried about past conflict? Because we take our past situations to inform the future.
Mm, that is so good. That's so good.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. And that does, it causes all that conflict. And you end up what? Repeating the cycle.
Repeating the cycle. And there's another question too that I love to ask of like, where does this come from? Like, who makes you believe that there's conflict?
Mm,
Is this your own voice? Is this a parent? Is this,
mhm.
where does this pattern come from?
Yeah, that's good. That's
You want to
very
answer the question or just keep it going?
that no, this is good. I think this is very good. I feel like you're hitting the nail on the head. And I do believe that a lot of us, we avoid the conflict. We avoid the interaction because we don't want to ruffle feathers. We don't want to, and so many of us, I mean, I could say for me, I kind of like things to go my way. I know
Me too.
exactly how I want it, and I know exactly when it's going to be done, and there's a process to it all. So I just would avoid someone else messing it up or having to over explain or having to oversee it. So these are some of my issues and that issues, but these are some of the things that keep me from, maybe asking or keep me from engaging. And, and I know that I'm not the only one. And I love the fact that we're having you here so you can kind of address that with some of us, help us kind of narrow those things down. And you're right. I do believe that a lot of it is, what we tell ourselves, what we rehearse, what we relive. So talk to us about that, Jack.
Well, I love what we just did. I always look at a lot of this work like a funnel. We started with, well, I want to avoid conflict. And what we really did was got to the root of it is you're like, I like things my way and in control.
Yeah.
And we can say we like to avoid conflict, but really what we're doing is being able to maintain that control. Or what I'm hearing you say is you're able to
There.
maintain that control. Well, if
Yeah.
I ask somebody, they might actually do it, and then they may do it the other way. So why don't
Yeah.
I just tell myself I'm avoiding conflict, but actually I'm keeping control?
There you go. That's good.
So there's truth that came out, for you that as a coach, I would be able to say, all right, now we know what we're working with, right?
Mm.
There's this piece of control. And again, I think control is healthy. Actually, in the Gene Keys, it's funny. It's one of my core wounds is around control. So then it's like anything. Then I go, okay, if it's a matter of you like things your way, you want to control, is it, I am okay with doing this myself?
Mhm.
Great. If you're not, how can you explain it to somebody else that it still gets done enough your way and still a little bit their way? Maybe, and I'm kind of planting seeds because it's not a total life coaching session. Is it things like control is I need it done by this amount of time? Is it a way that something is done? Like, what do you want to maintain control over and what can you let them do it their way? So see how you can start like moving the needle on it. So you get enough of what you want, but you can still let go. And if you answer that question of what control do I want to have and what aspect of this ask am I willing to let go, you can feed that back into the conversation you crafted in step 2 of here's how I would like it done, right? Here are the pieces that matter. Here's the stuff you go do it the goddamn way you want.
Right.
I mean, how's
That's
that?
good. That's good. I love it. And I think, and this is what it's
Yeah.
all about. Having those conversations to help us really discover, what it is that we're avoiding. What is it that we really want? And this is now getting down to possibly step 4. What is that step 4?
I'll say one more thing about step 3. One of the things that I've embarked on over the last number of years that really does like help us understand why we're avoiding it and fully shift the pattern, because there's a lot about like mantras are powerful, right? Our brains are software systems and we can just add a little different code, but they don't always change it, right? So we can say, I can release control. I can release control. But if we don't know what aspect of control we want to hold on to and release, we're not going to get anywhere. And then there's this other piece where I say that the rabbit hole I've gotten down in a good way is a lot of it's funny, I don't even know what to call it anymore. There's the somatic piece of what happens in our body, but being able to really take women back to those moments of where did this actually start? And we don't always have to say childhood. I think there's a bad rap put on that, but there's something that happened along the way once or multiple times that made us believe we are safe with control, right? We can't let these things go. Things will be screwed up if we don't do it right. So being able to figure out like, where did that come from? Or who made me believe this can really, really shift us into a new place, or some people say new timelines, like, and enable us to do things and get it done the way we want it done, but without the angst. So really going back to that true root moment, pattern, place in our body that we've stored this to heal it and release it. And it's profound. It's beautiful.
Oh,
It's like so much easier.
okay, I want to just say this real quick. This is why I think your course is going to be amazing to so many women, and also men, is because you're absolutely right. I feel that, once we truly discover it's so funny, for many of us, we go down this path of, who am I? What is my life purpose? What do I want? And I do believe that you have to know yourself. You have to know yourself. You have to discover yourself. You have to find what it is that drives you, what it is that reminds you. And you're right, facing some of those things in the past, some of those things that kind of shaped our beliefs of how we believe about ourselves or think about ourselves now. You're absolutely right, Jacqueline. And it takes what? Work.
It
It
takes work.
It's not going to happen overnight.
Right? And even with conversations, people say, just ask, go talk about it. Nobody taught me how to do it. Like my parents said, go ask, but then they instilled the fear of God in me for how I did it and whatever. So being able to give people a framework that takes this like theoretical, great, just go ask. And all
Hmm.
the mindset stuff that happens underneath, like we all talk about the calm duck on top and the legs going bananas on the bottom,
Yeah.
and being able to say, let's take all the chaos you have, organize it in a way that is actually very logical. Because that was me too before going down a lot of the mind body connection and the bigger philosophical questions was it was all up here. And I think a lot of us still need some of that to have
Hmm.
comfort to engage with the world.
Hmm.
And these big questions, who am I? What do I love? How do I figure this out? We can get stuck, myself included, answering them. But when we
Hmm.
break it down into these micro moments of, well, right now, here's what I need. Right now, you bothered me, and I want to be able to actually say something about it and not be, a jerk or a biatch about it, but do it in a way that engages and moves things forward. How do I do that? And that creates fulfillment that we're looking for while we're still answering these massive big questions, or it takes us time to get there. And that's what I think is the
Yeah.
coolest thing about doing this work. And when I was doing it for myself before doing it for others, is that profound shift that happens. Even women and men that have gone through the first and the second step of clarity and crafting the conversation, the conviction, there's suddenly this extra like chutzpah of like, or ignition of like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I can
Yeah.
go do this. I see this possibility that gets me
Yeah.
one step closer to whatever I want. Or I'm able to have the conversation that helps me figure out what else I need. This is a huge one in business. And I got to tell you, I deal with some people of all levels, but even some powerful women that when they've started roles, I love helping people in transition.
Yeah.
They need clarity and to go ask questions to get information to do their best. They're not
Mhm.
willing to go ask it to go feel stupid. But we need to go have these conversations to get answers, to be on that next path, to do our best, to realize our visions, to figure out what we really, really want. And again, it all comes down to this art of how you ask the questions or ask for a boundary that this
Yeah.
framework creates. So we're asking the big questions, like many of us, but I think we're driving ourselves nuts. And in the interim, we can have these micro but equally important and critical conversations that help everything unfold and getting what we want in the meantime.
This is
I
good.
feel like I was on a sorry, I love
No,
it.
no, this is good. This is good. This is why I love your program. And I love the fact that, oh my gosh, you're peeling back so many layers just to get your ass.
Yeah.
We're digging up all, our 30, 40, 50 years, 60 years of like, trauma, unbeliefs, everything. You have to figure it out. And I love that. And I love the framework. I love the program. Move us into step 4, Jacqueline.
I will. And this is the cool thing too, is I make it very easy. I love like once I realized I'm a human design projector and a 4-6, which basically means we create systems to make things easier. Like
Yeah.
that's what we do. We don't want to live the way that everybody else is through the grind and the strife and this and that. So let me create things that are easier. So as we talk about bringing up the traumas and the conversations, it's like, yes, I could dive into that as deep as y'all want to go and like real sessions, but I can also deliver it in a way of this framework and program that makes it very palatable and not scary, which does
Yeah.
lead to step 4, which is actually, I think, the easiest. This is really about the finesse. A lot of people call this executive presence. They will spend a fortune trying to figure out how do you have that je ne sais quoi on that X factor.
Mhm.
Well, if you figured out what you wanted, step 1, clarity. If you've crafted the conversation or convincing and you have dealt with your beliefs and upgraded them, you are naturally going to come off much more clearly, confidently, convincingly, and you're going to be understood. Like 100%, I see it every time. So when I say we're talking about your finesse, this is really like an icing on the cake. Where do you have filler words? And I do love filler words because I think they're human. There's nothing worse than like too much perfection.
Yeah.
This comes from a recovering perfectionist. But it's also things like, and in this step, there's like 15 different categories that I've seen people do, whether it's around their body language. A lot of us are virtual. Are you even paying attention? Are you
Mm,
fidgeting? Are you humming and
mm,
hawing? Are you repeating yourself? I've even drawn a blank on what some of the more deeper ones are, but it's an opportunity to really look at yourself and how you speak to say, what's going to make this message land? One of
that's
my
good.
favorites that I will drop for this audience is after you ask for what you want or you share, do you actually shut your mouth and let it land with the other person? Or do you keep going and muddle your message and undermine yourself?
That's good. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So 4 is really just about the
Yeah.
finesse that gives you that little, I don't know, professionalism, but also with your authenticity. And when I do masterminds and groups, this is also where I pull in the Enneagram, because that personality assessment tells you so much about how you communicate and how that's perceived. So it's really cool too.
I love it. The clothes, the clothes. I love it. Do you talk yourself out of the question that you ask?
Over
And
explained, like you
or
said.
over explain. That's good. That is very good. I love the philosophy. I love the framework, Jacqueline. Jacqueline, tell us. I know you're working on a new program that you have coming out. Tell us a little bit about it.
So I think you're talking about the Moms Ask one, right? So it's live now. I don't know when this is going to go, but at the end of, oh my God, I pulled this together in like 2 weeks because I was like, mothers during the summer need help, especially working moms.
Yes. Yes.
So the framework itself is available. I do it live. I've got a Power of the Ass Digital Academy where it's totally self-directed, so on your own time. But what I'm doing is I've taken 4 powerful strategies from the framework
Mhm.
and I put it into literally it's free for working moms, and it can be moms and anybody can actually sign up for it. We'll include a link here, but it's 4 powerful strategies from each of these steps to be able to help working moms get the support, set the boundaries, anything they need to decrease the chaos. Because for anybody that's a working mom, you know this right now. And for anybody that's not, summer is a nightmare because you're trying to work and succeed at your own goals, but your kids are out of school, the schedules are different, everybody's doing their own thing. And typically, the main caretaker ends up totally stretched thin, doing it all, playing Tetris, duct taping things together, and we lose our goddamn minds.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not losing my mind. My clients aren't losing our mind, or if we do, it's brief because we're able to say, hey, here's what I need. Hey, here's you can do this. Here's how I can do this. Here's how we can do a team. So I took 4 strategies, again, totally free, and am giving them away. Moms like thrive, not just like survive in summer. So, and I'm running that through Labor Day weekend, right? And then the kids go back to school. But the cool thing is, they even say like every day there's a different ask, there's a different curveball, and we deeply want to be able to handle them. Whether it's saying, I don't know what I need right now, let me come back. Like being able to verbalize that alone is an ask, or in the moment, like with my husband, instilling it to be able to say, like, you offered, I got 5 things, you're adding it back. Like, please go do it. I trust you. It's just something we need to do every day. Or saying, hey, here's the coffee order that got wrong, right? Let alone leading teams. So,
Uh,
and companies. But yeah,
oh
so
my
that was a long way of actually offering all of it. So there's the free strategies right now. We'll have a link that's available through September. There's the digital academy, which is available.
okay.
And then I love doing one-on-one VIP sessions as well. So, and I will probably be creating a masterclass for working moms in the fall, but TBD, this might be a preview.
I love it. Okay. So you have self-paced options, you have digital options, you go live, and then you have your one-on-one
Yeah.
meets, which is good. Kind
Yeah.
of peel back some of the layers. What's something your clients would be surprised to know about you, Jacqueline?
Oh my God, there's so many things. I still feel all the feels that you feel. I go through the same stuff, and it's why I created this framework. Like I even had a moment maybe no October, November, where something had happened with one of my clients. Like things mirror even in that client relationship where I was so worked up emotionally and spinning, I had to literally sit down with my framework. Like all the pieces that were even instilled in me, I had to sit down with it. So I still go through this as well. And I say that because it's why I love this and why I use it as well. I teach it, I use it, it works. I mean, the other thing is people don't believe like I don't know, they don't believe that I fumbled through
Mm.
conversations before. Like I had a full anxiety attack in a elevator on the way up to our UK CEO when I worked for Deloitte because I'd been helping run a new initiative for some of the
Mm.
partners. And I'd been doing all the back end and they were presenting an update to the CEO and they looked at me during the prep and they're like, you know this better than we do. You're presenting it. And I knew all the work and I had like an anxiety attack and I literally could not. I grabbed my boss's coffee instead of my own, like all of these things. But it was the beginning piece of being able to create all of this. So, and I'm sitting here living and breathing it. I mean, that was 10 years ago, more now, 15. But I live and breathe this. Like, I've been through all of it. I have been through burnout. I have lost hair. I lost my period over stress. There's been resentment in my relationship. All of these things that my clients in the audience go through, I have been through. And if it creeps up now, I have the tools to be able to handle it. But same thing, why I launched the working mom strategies. Like, I'm in it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it
Oh, I love.
works. My life is so much better and easier and wonderful. So yeah, there's probably a ton of other stuff, but that's what it came up to mind.
No, I love that, Jacqueline. Thank you for sharing that. I think it's so important that people know that, hey, I'm not winging this. I didn't read this in a book anywhere. This is actually lived experience.
Yeah.
And it makes the program more authentic because I know that you've been through it. Here you are. And I know I could possibly do it as well. There's still hope for
You
me.
can.
So good.
I love it.
That's
And
good.
what's the cool
That's
thing about the framework is it's repeatable. Like, hello,
yeah.
here's I actually am about to write a post. Yes, I'll use ChatGPT to refine it, but I am writing it about how often we go to our therapist
Yeah.
and we whinge about things. Do we ever have the conversation? Do we solve the problem? When we pay fully out of pocket? All the time and repeatedly for years. And I'm like, here's a framework that will help you tee up every conversation you're avoiding, every conversation you're trying to talk to your therapist about, but you're
Right.
actually going to have a way to do the conversation to
Yeah.
rewire your limiting beliefs and use it for everything you actually need. And you only pay for it once. And it helps your whole life. I was laughing about this last night with a friend. So I'm going to post about that one.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Jacqueline, I have a question for you. Talk to some of us, talk to some of us who have our personal faith relationship, and maybe you've been through it yourself. How do we ask God for what we want?
I'm starting to well up because I think this is actually my next phase too, is I've really mastered asking other people. But the whole point, and I'm getting these little downloads, is like, ask us, ask me.
Mm,
I don't know the Bible well, but there's actually a phrase I've come across. It's on somewhere, I think, deep in my website. Like, ask God for every door that's knocked on will be answered. It's something like that. And I was like, if that doesn't hit home, I don't know what does. And I think actually asking God or whoever we believe in, right? There are many
yeah.
faiths out there. In some ways, I feel like it could be the simplest because there's nobody there to judge us,
Ah,
but we hesitate because I think
mm,
myself included fear it won't be answered. And this is where I will, but that comes from my own beliefs of my asks weren't answered in my family unit, my immediate family. So I think there's a place if we truly all have a faith and believe in somebody that delivers for us. And
yeah.
it just gives us an opportunity to really lean into faith and
Mm,
belief
yeah.
and curb doubt to be able to say, here's what I really want. I can trust how and when you deliver it. And that's the other
Yeah.
piece too, letting go of the how. And whether you talk about manifestation techniques or even just God is, I truly believe that God, source, universe likes to have fun in the how. And if we
Mm,
control the how and all the details, where's the delight? Where's the surprise? Where's the big and the bold that creation is so extraordinary at? So we need to also be willing to let go of some of those pieces.
that's
But
good.
I think for most of us, myself included, it's something beautiful that we need to lean in. And the last caveat on that one is we
Mm,
see a lot of people talking about manifestation techniques or talking to God. And I truly believe in that. But I think maybe it's a three-parter actually. One, ask who we believe in. Ask God for those things. I started even just saying, like, give me a clear sign or what questions do I need to know? And the way it drops in, it's amazing. Then we
yeah.
also need to ask other people because we can't just do the behind the scenes work. And I think there's a lot of people just doing the behind the scenes when we
Mm,
also need to engage in the world. And then what
mm,
the power of the ask also does is teach us to ask ourselves. If we also believe that we have the divine within us, that's that beautiful union. But we have lost sight of asking ourselves what we want. What is the impact of this? What is the situation?
mm,
And that is where we also get derailed. And those are the questions in the Power of the Ask framework that teaches us to come home to ourselves, that teaches us to come home to whatever we believe in, if we are truly in unity, or in union, and then be able to go articulate it to the world. But ask away.
oh, that's good. That's really good, Jacqueline. I love that. I like that piece. That was really good.
Thanks.
I
Some
had
stuff I
me.
don't think I get to talk about enough. So I'm really glad that you brought up that
Yeah.
question.
I think it's good. I love one thing that you said. You said it's a good way to start privately. It's a good way to just have that. You don't fear that judgment or that backlash or, someone saying no. Yeah. It may get a no, but and then I think one of the beautiful things that you said is letting go of that how. For some of us control people, you gotta let go of that how. You gotta let go of how it's gonna be done. And
Because,
just let
like you said, it actually creates a lot of angst in us because then we're doing it ourselves and it's exhausting. When even for myself, I realized what I can let go of and how to articulate. I learned this when I was running teams throughout Deloitte and building out Deloitte's private company practice. Like,
yeah.
I loved running teams because when you can figure out how to delegate and get them to do it and grow, I worked myself out of a job at one of my roles at Deloitte and had to like transition. It is so freeing and things still get done even better. Like, oh,
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
and we all want a little bit more freedom, don't we? Freedom and control. It's a dance.
Exactly. Okay,
And a whole
Jacqueline.
other conversation is how to deal with no, but we don't have time for that today.
We may have to have you back for part 3.
We can
Jacqueline,
do how do you handle no? Yeah.
this is so good. I looked at them, I'm like, oh my goodness. But I do want to ask you one question before I let you go. I want to thank you, one, for coming and sharing with us, coming back a second time to really just dive into the process and the framework of the power to ask. You dropped so many beautiful nuggets today. I am going back to listen to this again. I mean, yeah, yeah. Anyway, and sign up for that class. It's just going to be good. Okay, so for
It's
some,
free. There's nothing standing in your way and it is so easily digestible. Your
I'll let
question.
I'll let you guys know. Put it all in the if and when you go and take the classes, we want your feedback. Put it in the chat, put it in the description, put it in the leave us comments, let us know, give us your feedback. I will as well. For some women who are listening who feel like they have lost their voice, what truth would you speak directly to them right now?
There's so many versions of it. Um, what you say matters and you are worthy of taking up that space. What the other person, their reaction is not your responsibility. It often has to do with what they're going through. You are fully worthy and valuable of our saying, however you say it, what you need to say. Other people's needs don't need to trump yours.
Mm.
Like full stop. And the beautiful thing is what I've come to learn is when we speak our truth and we stand in that value of what you need to say and you take up that space, we can actually create something that's better, even if people don't necessarily like it. And I've seen this in my marriage more than anything, because I used to really, my previous relationships, I feared speaking up and lived like their lives. But we've created something greater. And I have feared destroying things by speaking up. But you create something better when you speak up for what your needs are. Because if you don't, you're actually not living a truth. So if you can believe that you are worthy of it, you are giving yourself the opportunity to create something greater and in line with yourself. It's amazing. But you matter. You and what you need matter. 100%.
Mm. That's good. That's a good note to leave off on. Jacqueline, you are amazing.
So are
Amazing.
you. Thank you so much for this space. And like you said, like send us the comments, ask me questions. That's what it's here for. This is the safest space you've got.
I love it. Okay, Jacqueline, thank you so much for teaching us
You.
again once more about how to ask for what we want, what we want. As you just said, if we don't, then are we really living a truth, our truth? I love it. All right, ladies, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Woman Witness podcast on the Woman Witness TV network. I will leave all Jacqueline's information in the description below. Please follow her, like, comment, leave feedback, get in touch with her, have that one-on-one. What can you lose? What can you lose? And what can you gain if you just ask for it? All righty. Thank you so much. Jacqueline, did you want to say anything? No? Okay. All right. All right. Thank you so much, guys. And perhaps you were chosen for such a time as this to write, to tell your story, your truth. Until next time. Bye, y'all.